Okay, so just to answer a challenge here, I ended up getting, I have a few mechs in here. I didn't quite realize how many mechs I might have, but I wasn't sure. So with the Advent sale going on, I got this guy, and he's kind of in a strange spot in the library. He's under figures, but that actually makes sense. You just one of those things you have to get used to. And that's where I use, just so you know, that's where I use my it's file manager. I come in here and I right click and I go show installed files. And of course, there's the data folder that none of that is user facing, but you start looking for the stuff beyond that. And you start to see where the loaders are. And I see that it's in because of the fact that I have it in my DAZ 3D content. It's going to be under figures, all of the stuff. It's all it anyway. So following those paths, now I get to here. See, I go to figures and I look for Mech 205. And he's cool because you can just have a rider in the open in front of it. Now the challenge is animating these backwards legs. And now the thing is with me, I don't like to what I call dick around with a lot of crazy stuff. That's why a lot of times I won't even get this kind of thing. But the challenge is quite important to a friend of mine. So I'm going to see what I can do. And I haven't tried any of this. I'm just doing this on the fly. And oh, something really cool about this product. Okay. So Genesis 8 rides in here. And I come to poses and I'm looking for the pose for the Genesis 8 figure. And all I'm seeing are these poses for the mech. However, I see this pose infos thing. So you just double click on that and you get this cool little window that pops up. It goes one, load Mech 205 figure. Okay. Two, load Genesis 8 figure. Three, put Genesis 8 figure into body of Mech 205. And then four, apply the pose. So let's do that first thing. So I'm just going to look for the okay, so there's the body. Okay, so I'm just going to come to my library here and I've got my own special little category. I'll grab Rosie 8.25 and we'll just grab cancel. Let's merge into the scene. And this is just a very lightweight web friendly, version that's already got hair and everything like that. So we don't have to really mess around with stuff. So now we come back down to our figures area and we've got Mech 205. There we go, poses. And so we have to take Genesis 8 and drop it into the body and then select. It doesn't say to apply the pose. I'm sure what you have to do is select this because it's an H pose and it will follow what an H pose is. It's a hierarchical pose. Okay, and what a hierarchical pose is you can when you save one of these things, you can allocate what all the pose file will apply a pose to. And it starts from the main thing that's selected that the pose is applied to, and it follows through and it looks for things that are in it. So it's going to come through and it's going to hopefully find Rosie 8 and it's going to apply. Let's just apply a pose and see what happens. Yeah, look at that. So that's really cool. And that's just like a good starting base. And now Rosie's pretty tiny, so I'll have to use my ultra cool pose dials to fix her arms. And we'll just do something really quick to make that happen. Looks like um, get rid of this thing. All right. Let's see. We go to arms front and back at first, and a little twist. And then I'll come down here and I'll use my forearms bend. Look at that. We're already there. Maybe a little bit less forearm bend and apply a little forearm twist. No, a little less arm twist. And we're good to go. I'm happy with that. For now, at least anyway. Okay, so now we've got this mech. And you got these backwards legs to contend with. And an idea that I was trying to pass on to my friend is, well, what if we just don't use these legs and replace them with Dragonhide PCS? Now, the thing about Dragonhide PCS is that is a Genesis 8 or 9, depending on which one you have. I have both now. And the legs are not backwards. Okay. So that kind of isn't going to work. Or is it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this one down and I'm just going to right click in here and clear selection. So I have nothing selected. All righty. And I am going to bring in another. In fact, can I just, no, we're going to put this into a group for now. And I'm just not even going to name the group. I'm just going to call it, yeah, I'm going to name it. Call it the Rosie group. There we go. All right. And now we can just hide it. And okay. And since I merged that in, I'll just take my render settings and drag those into render options and get rid of this. Boom. There. Now I have a nice, neat, and organized thing. Make sure that nothing is selected. And now I'm just going to load this guy in. All right. And what I really want is a foot. That's all I really want is a foot. So I am going to see what I can do about that. I got to move my zoom controls out of the way. Right down there for now. Okay, so I'm going to select my geometry editor. If you don't have it in your toolbar like this, it's under Tools and Geometry Editor. All righty, and let's just see what's in here. Let's geometry selection, select by. We've got face groups. Yeah, look at that. There's the right foot about a left foot, and that goes that far. Geometry selection, select by face groups. And oh yeah, the toes. So it's going to be toe B, select by face groups, toe F, select by face groups, toe L, and we need toe R. Select by face groups, toe R. Now you're not always going to find what you're looking for in face groups. Okay, you might have to look elsewhere. And now just in case, let's select by face groups. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to find things right in surfaces. Like if I wanted to get the whole leg, I could just come in here. But face groups right here, and then sometimes there's edge count, and sometimes, it all depends on how the artist set up, how they broke down their own selections that helps them turn it into a full product. Okay, now we're going to look for that kind of ankle thing. It's calf maybe. Oh, there's that. We'll take that. And I think that this is all one thing. Why don't we just stick with this and see how we can do? Okay, so you don't even know what I'm doing yet. So, all right. So now I'm just going to geometry selection, invert selection, and I'm going to geometry editing, delete selected polygons. And yes, I am going to get rid of 382,548 polygons. Bam, missing. All righty. And it looks to me like what I am going to want to do is, well, first of all, let's uh let's unhide this and use this selector, and I'm going to hide this. Is that hidden? Yeah, that's hidden. Okay, so I'm going to select this part of this thing, and there we go, left foot. All right, and we want to see, eh, all right, so now let's make this one visible, and we're going to take this one. Oh, look at where that's assigned. Oh, it's in the middle over there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to right here. So now I can select this foot again, and you can see that now where this cursor is, it should be right in the center-ish of this one. But move that just a little bit more that way. And left foot. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's just look around. And again, this is a proof of concept. So if I don't quite get it perfect, plus what I really want is this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this left foot and I'm going to control click this one, which is actually just that foot that I deleted out of the other one. And I'm going to launch mCasual's change orientation. I talk about this all the time. If you're not quite sure what I'm talking about here, just uh, look under, if you come to my website, where we find that here is we're at my my website, darthambeck.com here, and we go to DAZ Zone, DAZ Studio, and here you see M Casual Scripts right here. And the only thing that I have in there, well, at first there's just a link to his site where you let's take a look at that. So this takes you to the main area where you can look at all kinds of stuff, and there is a lot. And finding that tool amongst all of this stuff might be a little daunting for people who don't really know what it looks like and stuff like that. So what I did to help that along is to come here and you can just click this right here and it takes you right to that tool. And I strongly suggest that you take a moment to read through all of this stuff because it shows how incredible this tool is for all kinds of different things. And that's very inspiring. And yeah, I did that, but I don't use it for this stuff yet. I'm still fairly new to DAZ Studio, so I'm kind of easing my way in. But what I use it for on a constant basis is the what I'm showing in this thing. But you come down here, if you uh, utilize M Casual's scripts and stuff like that. Give him a little something. I mean, he really deserved it. This is a lot of hard work in here that's going. Just this one tool alone is worth some bucks in there. But anyway, right here is where you download the thing, and he gives you installation instructions, all of that. So yeah, don't forget to head on over there and get that script. It's very important. Yeah. So now, how you do this is first you select the thing, whatever has the orientation that you want to assign to the second thing that you select. So this one has this cursor where I want it to be, and this one does not. So I want this cursor location to now be the home location for this one. Okay, so select this one first, control select that one, and then all you do, this thing does all kinds of other stuff, but all you do is go set origin to marker one. And now right where that one was located, it's now located on this foot. Okay, and now I want to take this foot and oh, okay, see, it's still part of a rig. So what I have to do, oh, there we go. So now, pretty sure this is all still part of a rig. Yeah. So what we want to do now is I'm going to copy this name. All right. And I'm going to select this and go edit figure, rigging, convert figure to prop. And then I'm going to paste that name into there and left foot replacement. Yeah, that's a good name for it. All right. All right. So now let's right click, clear selection, move zoom tools out of the way again. And now we have nothing selected, correct? Correct. So now I'm just going to come into, let's close down some stuff, close down figures, and we'll come to people. And I like Genesis 8 because I animate. And that's what this is all about. This is all about animating. So I'm going to come to Genesis 8 male, and I'm going to go to clothing, and I'm going to look for Herschel in here, Herschel Hoffmeyer, and Dragonhide PCS. And what is this saying here? G8M and complete outfit. What's the difference? Oh, and this is we got the loadout. We don't need the loadout. We need just the complete outfit, I think. Yeah, we don't need the complete loadout because you'll see. So let's just load one of these guys into the scene and see how the size matches up and everything. Is that thing sideways? It's not sideways. So, oh, I didn't rotate that foot yet. Okay, so now with everything visible, let's take Genesis 8 male and let's scale him up quite a bit. All right. Not sure if I want to keep scaling him up, but let's try it. And then we're going to go to, let's say, actor, legs, and let's look, see if there's a legs length. There we go. And how about hip and go, is there hip wide maybe? Something. Anyway, let's just get this proof of concept out of the way. Okay, so we have him like that. Let's see, we don't need an undersuit. We don't need boots. I shouldn't really delete stuff. I'm going to undo that. Shouldn't really delete stuff just yet. Definitely don't need the undersuit though. And let's go with, um, okay, we'll start at the top stuff because we definitely don't need, okay, abdomen sleeve we might want. Well, we can just start hiding stuff. And I think that thing might need to stay. But pauldrons can go, arm sleeves can go. Genesis 8 male we don't want to see. And I go edit, undo parent change. There we go. I don't know why it got all glitchy like that. We definitely don't need eyelashes. I mean, delete those. Arm sleeves, band braces, gloves. And then what if I go like this? Go like this. And oh, see, that's just parented right too. So I'm just going to delete that. And I'm going to select this and I'm going to delete that. And let's keep it there for now. We may end up getting rid of um, this thing, this thing here. But for now, I'm going to just keep it there. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take Rosie Group. I'm going to turn this off. Let's just go on to Rosie Group and we are going to, let's Y rotate it 180. All right. And we will now Z translate back and let's match up that foot. Actually, not really so worried about that foot. Yeah. Let's just play around here a little bit. Just bear with me here. Like I say, I didn't practice this. I didn't do this ahead of time or anything like that. Okay, so what I want to do is get it so that, oh, actually right here is, okay, right thigh. Actually, I'm going to take right thigh and I'm going to control select that to hide everything in that. And then I'll do that with this left thigh as well, control, and that'll hide everything. So now we're not seeing any of the legs. That was screwing me up. We're not seeing any of the legs on Mech 205 here. And we're just moving this whole thing so that we will have Dragonhide PCS's legs on this mech, right? And they're backwards. Okay, so now I'm going to select these. I don't want the left toes. I want the boots, and I'm just going to hide them for now. And what is this? I'm going to select that with the, like I did before. You just use the surface selector. You can see what it is. It's the leg sleeves, and we just hide that whole thing. We don't want to do that. So let's just leave that alone for now. We can always change something. And I'm probably going to turn the boots back on too and alter that. All right, let's go back to getting rid of that. And now let's take this foot and I'm going to scale that up. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees in Y axis. And I think I want it to be right where it is. Okay, and then I'm going to maybe scale it down just a touch. Let's just go 110. Yeah, tired. Been awake for a long, long time, which is the way of things these days. Okay, let's move him right there. And then I could just instance him, but, and why not? Why not? Let's just go create new instance. And I'm just going to call this space, backspace, and we'll change this L to an R. All right. And hit accept. And then I'm just going to leave this alone because that's just an internal name and that's fine. This is the label and that's what I'm concerned with. So I'm going to hit accept. And now sometimes an instance will not end up in the same spot and it won't end up in the same scale. Where that's one thing I like about duplicate over instance, but instance saves a lot of resources. So now I'm going to select this and then I'm going to control select this because I want to align them because now that left foot is on the right side. So I'm just going to align to origins here. I just set these all three axes to origins. And in this situation and many other situations, there's no difference if I would have, oh yeah, there would have been a difference if I would have taken centers because the origin spot, and when I say origin, I'm talking about this point right here. And that is where, okay, I'm going to deselect the right one and um, just move this one over here like so. And what the origin is that is the point where things are going to move, where things will rotate from, and where things will scale from. They go from that origin, okay? So that's why it's important to be able to use this tool and get that origin where you want it. And I do it all the time for different things. Like right now, I might want to take um, Mech 4, Mech 205's body and then control the Rosie group. No, I think I'm going to leave no, I do want. So I'm going to take the Rosie group and I'm going to change orientation. So I selected the body first. Why? Because that's where this is, okay, the orientation of it. Another thing that I could do really is select the Genesis 8 hip. But boy, is that ever up in the air. So with that hip being way up in the air like that, that actually is cool. All right, so I'm going to select the hip and then I'm going to select Rosie group and I'm going to use my change orientation and set. And so now the orientation of Rosie group, which is actually Mech 205 with Rosie inside of it, is right at the hip of Genesis 8. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Rosie group and I'm going to drag it onto the hip of Genesis 8 male, which I'm going to call uh, DH underscore PCS Mech 205. Okay, so that's what he's called. All right, now I have to remember to, let's see, this guy, for now I'm just going to drag him into this group so I can grab him from down here. I'm going to have to shrink this down and I'm going to have to collapse it in order to, okay, there's left foot for, I want to close Rosie group and left foot. Let's close left foot and drag the foot replacement onto that. So now we just parented that and I'm going to actually change my render settings so that it looks better in here. Go to General, and I'm going to select this to Active Viewport so that we can see the whole thing. Now that we can't have that open. All right. Now we'll take this right foot replacement. First of all, we have to find the right foot, which is right here, and just drag this right foot replacement onto that right foot. Okay. So now my intention with all of this is that I can select this guy right here, and uh, you can't yet do this in the new Alpha Daz Studio because it lacks. I'm gonna turn those boots on once and see what that looks like. It lacks the important thing is animate 2. And let's leave for now. I'm going to take Rosie out of there. I'm going to take the Mech 205 out of there. And I'm going to, we don't need a Genesis. Oh, that's for Rosie. Okay, I'm going to take that out of there too. Okay, so Genesis 8 male. And I'm going to take that out because what I want to see in there is this name. So I'm going to add that. And now we can see Dragonhide PCS um, Mech 205. All right. And like always, I am going to add an empty antiblock, which at least the way I have it set up, it defaults to 1 second. I think that's the way the default is anyway. All right. So now let's just try something. And this now we're facing the back, right? Yeah, because this is the front of the knee of Dragonhide PCS. And if this works successfully, then what I will do is I'll uh, go like this. I think with this guy selected, no, it's undersuit. What is that? Let me just grab this tool right here. And yeah, so that is the leg sleeves. Okay, and what I will do is I will use if this actually works out, what I'll do is I'll do a nice job with selecting here, and then I'll control select here. And all right, so now I come to tool settings, and this is Geometry Sculptor now. And so now I can just, looking at that little bit of influence that it's having on there, I'm going to go ahead and crank that influence way up, and let's just put it at 55 just to see what happens here. Just get rid of that. All right, so that's pretty cool. And now I'll just save that as my first test shape for that. And now I can turn the boots back on. And I'm not going to mess with the boots right now, but I would either do a similar arrangement with that, but I would probably hide parts of it and then work with it. Like like for an example, I would geometry selection, select by surfaces, sleeve. No, I have the wrong thing selected. I come in here, geometry selection, select by surfaces, and that's kind of crazy. But the thing about it is it should really show us what we're looking for. So let's look at teeth, and there's the teeth. And um, geometry selection, select by, what about face groups? That's not very helpful. All right, surface regions, edge count. Let's just keep going with surfaces. So we took teeth, but that's 107 teeth. Let's go 108 teeth. And now at this point, let's try Control Plus and see if we can, yeah, we can just grow that like that. And so now that's as far as my Control Plus will go. So all of this stuff is just one thing. And now I can just go geometry, visibility, hide selected polygons. And if I do come to the idea that I want to delete them, I can go geometry editing and then delete hidden. Okay. Um, but I'm not going to actually finish that right now because that'll make the video even longer than it already is. So let's just hide the boots for now. All right. So we do have this stuff connected. Yeah, that's what it is. We've got the backwards legs, no, the forward legs on the backwards Mech 205 with Rosie inside of it. So let's just take this guy and flip him around with a Oh, that's a train. Never mind that. Rotate. Why rotate 180 degrees? Bam, we are now facing forward. And look, we still have things. It looks kind of cool up there. We could just leave it up there for now. I'm going to leave it up there for now because it just looks kind of cool. And now just put me back up here and come down to my content library. And let's just go with Reeser mocap. Let's go to some anti-blocks and let's pick a Reeser mocap because he's got some pretty cool little things going on. We'll just go with Genesis 8 male and we'll go with ambient moves. Wait, do we have everyday moves too? No, it's everyday one. Yeah, yeah. And we got this one. And look at that. The feet don't seem to stay on for some reason. Maybe that's a thing that'll, maybe our proof of concept isn't going to work properly. Well, let's just try it. Okay, so we have calm pacing on here. And let's just, oh, got it on the wrong side of my 30 frame buffer zone. I'm just going to take this and slow it. Let's get rid of that buff, that thing. I'm just going to slow this down quite a bit. All right. And let's just, it's really weird. Okay, so why would that be happening? That's that shouldn't be happening. And okay, and it's not rotated. That one is. And let's look at this and then look at this. Oh, I see what's going on. I put them on the wrong one. Um, so left foot, that'll fix it. We'll fix this. You'll see. Okay, so I'm going to take the right foot replacement and I'm going to drag it onto the left foot. And then I'm going to take the left foot replacement and I'm going to drag that onto the right foot. And now we will set the range to 30 so that it no longer, not sure why that beginning is like that. Let's go here. Must be just the way the first frame is. And what is going on? I thought for sure that the foot would work right. Oh, that's what's going on. I have to go backwards. Now, one thing that we that may look this make this whole thing look better. Let's come back to the beginning of our thing, and just to make things easier. Well, we want the whole loop, but I'm going to bake this to studio keyframes because this is how I work. I bake that to studio keyframes, wait for this little eye to fill this spot, and that'll tell me that it's all written to the timeline. There we go. See the little eye? Now, when that little eye comes on, this is the magic of Animate 2. Now, if whatever we do in here is not going to do anything, all right? Because Animate has locked itself out of use for this guy. If we were to add, say, oh, where did we go? We have to go to hip, close this guy down, close this guy down. And if we come in here and we add Rosie, back in here. Now, see, she is not locked. That's why I removed everything that I wasn't going to animate right now, because now after I figure out what this mech is going to do, I can go ahead and use anti-blocks on Rosie if I want. I could even experiment with some on Mech 205, even though that's funny because I haven't even tried any anti-blocks on just Mech 205, just the way he comes out of the box, because literally just got him just, to help this. Anyway, I keep getting way off subject. Okay, so now we select this guy. Let's collapse all. I right clicked in there and then collapse all. And I'm just going to drag this end. I have my controls on the top. You may have yours on the bottom. By default, they start down here. And you just drag this down so that we can see this easier. Because when you have this 30 frame buffer zone and you're using Animate 2, we go to the timeline and we select frames 1 through 29 and we delete them. And I really like mine on top. So I'm gonna change that. There we go. Okay. And we delete them. And then it's important to select the beginning um, keyframes. We don't need render options, but I just select everything that's at the beginning there. And I change the interpolation to linear. Okay. Let's undo that once. And you'll see that before I set the interpolation to linear, right now it's set to constant. And that's just something that happens when you're using animate 2 to bake to a timeline. So it always sets this very first one at constant. Or maybe it's like that. I don't think it is like that any other time. I think it's animate 2 that does that. But now all of a sudden we're gonna jump in like that. All right, and that's not what we want. We want interpolation going on between there. So you just select all of those and watch what happens now with this in the middle here. We select this to linear, and now it takes a little while because it's calculating. And it's actually more to calculate than what some people might think, but that's kind of neat how it twists that foot like that. I like that. Okay, so let's get our timeline back. And I'm just going to set this. It's helpful to be able that you can just enter your value in here because I want to be at frame 30 because that's where this whole thing is starting. And I am going to go to pose controls, legs. All right. And I'm just going to spread the legs a little. Now on Rosie 8, I have a better system. I because I animate with her all the time. For legs, I added all of these custom ones where you can twist the thigh, and that would really be beneficial for this one. And it would be really easy to make those dials. So since this proof of concept seems to be working pretty decent, I am going to go ahead and add these tools to Genesis 8 Male so that I can have it on this cool bot. Because right now he is stuck with just the default. I don't think I put some anywhere else, but no, that's the default, and you can only go so far with that. But I think that's going to help anyway. Just that little touch. You could always go like knees up, and that would accentuate that. One thing we might want to do is, um, okay, let's undo that and undo that again. There we go. And we'll just go with the leg spread, and I'm just going to set that to 10. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the hip, and I'm going to go select children, and then I'm going to go edit, figure, limits, limits off. And that's going to take a little while. Shouldn't take too long, but it's going to take a little while. That way, no matter how these legs decide to swing, it can handle it. I wonder how well the PCS Dragonhide follows actor shapes, because that could be really cool if we could, just because we had to scale them up so big, it would be really neat if we could maybe skinny them up. Thigh size, shin size. Is there a way can we remove the limits? Which one did I do that to? Shins. You can remove the limits. Huh. I'm not sure if we're going to want to do too much of that without reckoning. I think what I would do instead, I'm going to undo, and then I'm going to undo the fact that I changed that I took the limits off. And instead, when I'm all done, because the proof of concept seems to be working, is I just come in here and select the proper element. Um, and it wouldn't be the Genesis 8, it would be on the Dragonhide PCS. And I'd probably have to find it by using the this. And so we know that that's the greaves. Okay. And I'll just use that and then that's the leg sleeves. So I'd go greaves, and we'd probably start with the leg sleeves and turn that off and turn on Geometry Sculptor and just start messing around with this stuff. So funny thing, little trivial information. I I really loved. I was fairly new to Daz Studio. I still feel that I am. I haven't been in this for all that long, just a few years, a few short years, and I, I'm a huge, huge fan of Mesh Grabber. And so I contacted Man Friday, and I asked him if there was a possibility. I'm going to undo that one. Okay, I asked him if there was a possibility that he could add this, because there was an add-on to add rotations to Mesh Grabber, and the other one I can't remember. Um, but I asked him if he could make an add-on for Mesh Grabber that would allow you to scale. And he was like, "Well, I don't really have time for that right now, but I've actually been thought of that before, but I wasn't sure. But now that you're asking for it, yeah, I'll get to it, but not right now." Well, it wasn't very long after that, and he contacted me again and said, "Whoa, I got going on this, and it was really cool." And then it never actually came out as, and I'm just going to put a one here because I'm not going to save this. Yeah, yeah, it never came out as a update for or a add-on for Mesh Grabber. It became part of Des Studio Premiere, and to me, that tool alone makes Premiere worth its weight in gold because I use this all the time. I am constantly shaping things to the way I like it, and then clicking this button right here and saving it, just like you've seen me do. Oh, and when you save it you can create whatever name you want, but I just leave it at the default geometry sculptor, and you can see that now we've got these morphs. And you don't have to save the morph, but I mean, why not? The nice thing about it is you can keep sculpting, and if you decide you don't like it, you can just shut it off. So we can undo everything that we've done, and now you'll see that his toes are back. And let's get it back. Yeah, so that was just a quick little short demonstration on what I would do with that. Okay, let's look at this thing. Actually, I'm going to do this. Let's just do something simple. Come back to frame 30, and I'm going to use my W key, and I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to create a camera. All right, and let's look through the camera, and then I'm going to go create new null. I'm going to call this cam a null, and I'm going to select Dragon Hide's hip, and then control select that, and I'm going to select my align tool. And it's since I haven't closed this session, it still has, well, this, yeah, it still has this all filled out. So I just apply. And so now the nulls placement is at the same place as the hip, the camera in there first, and then we'll put it in the hip. Okay. And now with that selected, we can just drive this thing around. Let's just say when we get to 90, there we go, we will rotate this like this, and we'll drive it some more. And see how those legs are working properly and our motion is working properly. And I wonder, okay, I think this was an interesting trial run. It proves that we can at least get the animation working on the legs, something to start with, and maybe add some custom dials to the figure. And furthermore, I think another thing that would be fun to try is just taking a blank Genesis 8 that doesn't have any mesh on it whatsoever. Just work with the bones, but leave the maybe the dev load Genesis 8 or 9, whichever you prefer to work with. Uh, uh, Leave that intact long enough for us to the way I extracted the foot from the original model. Well, we could also extract the different leg pieces and even more. Just extract some pieces from that original Mech 205 model and parent those to the Genesis, um, before we remove the mesh from the Genesis so we can see where to put it and where the joints line up and all of that kind of thing, and actually use Mech 205s or whatever mech you're using, actually use their parts uh, for the and then just use the rigging alone from Genesis to drive the animation. And again, what we'd have to do is put a forward walk cycle or a forward walk and reverse it. Or if you want to moving backwards, you use a backwards walk and then you reverse it. And the reason you have to reverse it is because we're looking at it from this opposite direction. It might seem like it's a little hard to wrap your head around, but once you play with it, it's really quite neat. But yeah, this was a really interesting and fun little experiment. And thank you all very much. You guys have a great day, evening, morning, whatever's going on by you. And we'll catch you later. Ciao.